Last orders at the bar.
A night in with Mauler and the drinker, getting traction with the web stream thinkers. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop up the cork, have a glass of wine, I'll sail safe, I'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line before the Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, Mauler and the critical drinker.
Well, hello and Merry Christmas to you, one and all.
Ho, ho. Merry Christmas. It's funny being a part of multiple like streams and things online where it's like, this is the Christmas one. It's like everyone does Christmassy things.
This is like the 5th Christmas one that I've done. Yeah. And it's also going to be a bit of a surprising one for people who are watching this in like July. They just happen to be skipping back. But, you know, it's all right. At the time of recording and all that, it is December 23rd, so it's Christmas Eve, and here we are. We want to catch up on all the super chats that people were kind enough to send us when we did Open Bar 123. So, and this is our last one of the year, which is always special.
Yeah.
But there is a lot to get through because everyone was like super generous. It's the season of giving and all that. So I'm just gonna jump right into them and see if we can do it. And just before I start reading out the super chats, I did want to give a special mention actually to True North, who dropped about $600 worth of channel memberships while we were doing the stream. And I didn't get a chance to properly thank him for that because these channel membership ones, they come and they go and they get swallowed up by everything else. So I didn't get a chance to say thank you on the night. But thank you, man, to Mr. True North. Your generosity there was just insane. So thanks very much for that. Appreciate it very muchly. And as for the chats themselves, the first one I've got here is Brie Larson's toenail clipper, who says, RK Outpost, save me. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Hunter Dvorak says, I saw a concept trailer for a 90s AI Lord of the Rings cast made by Snyder HD, and man, you've all got to check it out. It had Sean Connery as Gandalf and David Bowie as Elrond, the things that people do with AI. I've seen the 80s version, and it looked fucking brilliant. Everyone was like super buff, even Gandalf. I was like, yeah, I can get behind this.
And you just want to like, I don't know, sometimes with like the style it evokes, you're just like, it would be cool to see that if it would also not terrible. Like, you know, like
yeah, because, you know, a lot of these 80s fantasy films, like when they use like matte paintings as backgrounds and miniatures and everything, it's got a real charm to it. It looks great in a lot of ways. Like, it's not going to be as good visually as, you know, the real Lord of the Rings trilogy that we got, but yeah, it's visually very interesting, and it fits with that fantasy aesthetic really well. So, yeah, I'd love to have seen it. Just, we'll probably get to the point where people will be able to just redo the entire Peter Jackson trilogy, but with 80s style visuals.
Yeah, and Hollywood will actually have to start making good shit to compete. They can't just get away with slop.
Yeah, imagine that day. Bobby Hammer. Hey, Drinker and Mauler, with how bad the MCU and other movies do multiverse storylines, how could it have been done better, or is it just that multiverse as a concept isn't good? Merry Christmas. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you, sir. So can it be done better? I mean, sure.
I mean, first things, like, compare Multiverse of Madness to No Way Home, right? Where how they took care of the characters. It's like, that's going to be number one. You need to make sure that whoever we're dealing with is given the respect they deserve. So Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker just fits the obvious role of like can give some sage advice to the younger Spider-Man. He's gonna have things under control. He's probably gonna be the most well-adjusted, and so it's like that's a suitable role. Compare that to Multiverse of Madness, where they make like Reed Richards. It's the first time we see him in the MCU, and he's a fucking retard. It's like, thanks.
And he gets spaghetti-fied.
Yeah, so it would be like, so that's going to be thing one. But then, of course, there's just the idea of the mechanics alone. Can you do multiverse mechanics well? It's like, I imagine there's no challenge that you can't complete when it comes to writing. But, you know, we typically advise against doing multiverse anyway, because it inherently drives you to a place of cheapening everything.
Yes. I agree 100%. I made a whole video on this, why I didn't like multiverses as a storytelling concept, because, yeah, what's the point in killing the bad guy when there's a billion other versions of him out there? Same with losing
Yeah, like you have
important
to
characters.
understand once you open that level of scope, can't close it ever again. So
Yeah.
really be sure about the kind of world you're creating if you want to bring that into it. Now, huge, sci-fi fantasy things like the worlds that the MCU and stuff are part of. It's like, yeah, I guess you can try and you can create some crazy things with it, but I don't know, man. Like, I think you got to simplify the hell out of it and just make the rules very easy to follow for the audience, and then
Yes.
lock it up. Once you're done, just lock it the fuck up and be like, oh no, that machine that allowed that to happen is broken now. And the guy who made it is dead.
Yeah. What are the odds, huh? Gosh, that was unlucky. Yeah. Michael Brokey says, Superman's got me feeling hopeful. Mufasa's got me feeling sad. Raising a glass to you, panel, and a glass of water to you, Gary. Hail. Well, much appreciated either way, sir. Thank you. And yeah, Mufasa should make you sad.
Yes.
Tom Waiting. Hamlet 2 is on Max, and I don't want to oversell it, but it's the greatest thing ever. It better be.
All right.
Case the Ace says, curious if you're familiar with the YouTuber The Closer Look. I've never seen him do a live video, but he'd be a good guest to have on the bar.
Very familiar. We've covered him a few times on we even had him on once. He did a video. The one he came on for, he did a video talking about why Endgame's battle was bad, and he compared it to Helm's Deep, I think. And I remember we were talking about.
Yeah, he was talking about it being celestially epic.
Yeah, there was that was like a big old meme. He's an interesting fellow. He's not beyond making good points and everything, but he also says some weird shit. Like he did a video critic. I want to say he was critical of Dune, the first one. And part of his criticism, he said, I think this regarded even the book, was like, you need the optimal place for an inciting incident is, I want to say it was something like 17.5% of the way into the timeline. He said that's where you need to place your inciting. So we were like, what the fuck? Like, this is the most bizarre shit.
It just popped into my head as well. I was fucking there on that EFAP when he came on, when we covered him. Yeah,
well,
because it started a wee streak when I was on EFAP, like, and we covered someone. They would just happen to show up in chat, and we would bring them on. Weird.
It's just funny how much time has passed that there's going to be viewers who are just like, "Have you heard of Closer Looks?" Like, yes, very much so. Actually, there's videos that exist of us talking to him, so you can check them out.
We know we're getting old, where it's like we're descending into like the grey mists of time with YouTube.
Well, it's like you said when people say like, "Drinker, any thoughts on this movie?" And you're like, "I've covered it in a stream. I made a video on it." I don't.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like that movie.
I legit had a guy come up to me at a con as well and say like, "I grew up watching your videos." Like, oh motherfucker,
dude. Yeah. When someone said like they went through all of high school and college watching EFAP, it's like, oh,
yeah,
that is a lot of time.
Been at this for a while. Northern English Bastard says, as this will be my last super chat this year, I'd like to thank you, Drinker, for inviting me on Open Bar, and Mauler and the guys that I guested with for making me feel welcome. Merry Christmas, everyone. It was a pleasure having you on, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
TGV Monster. Hi, everyone. Honestly, if Disney wants to change, sell off the money tumor called Lucasfilm. Is it worth anything now that KK has tanked everything? Well, it's worth probably considerably less than when George Lucas sold it.
Yeah.
Filthy Casual. Someone last week asked about Dune Prophecy. I've done a vid for each episode if anyone's interested. In summary, uninteresting characters and a dumb, dull story. Wow, you're really selling it to us. Thanks, man. Richard Shaft. I already have a hatred for Mufasa due to the trailer's Hakuna Matata moment. Don't shit on stuff from the movie you owe your existence to, not to mention the import of the song to Simba's character.
When Chris Gore, the reason I found that so funny was because he said they're trying to rely on your nostalgia, for how much you remember Timon and Pimbu.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, the famously beloved Pimbo.
Didn't become like tumor and pinball or something.
It's absolutely no knock against anybody. People do this all the time. I've done it all the time. But when you talk about like this thing everyone knows, then you reference it wrong. You're like, whoops.
TGV Monster says, "What is the panel's favorite gun in a movie/video game that isn't the pulse rifle?" Fuck. Mine is Reggie's 4-barrel shotgun from Phantasm movies. Cool as fuck.
We
Favorite
can't go
gun.
wrong. There's a lot of like. I mean, I love the design on the Blade Runner gun that Deckard has.
Yeah, that gun confuses me so much. It's like a combination of a semi-automatic and a revolver. Like, it kind of looks like both melded together, and I can never figure out how it works. I've even seen like replicas of it, and I still don't understand where the bullets go or anything.
I like the Farscape guns.
Oh, the pulse rifles again.
Well,
different kind of pulse rifles, obviously. Yeah,
I just meant like the pistols, even.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Little batteries they put in them.
Yeah,
whenever they're running low.
I always liked RoboCop's. I think it's a Mac 9. It's this weird, like heavily modified autoloader, and it just fires those crazy 3-round bursts. It sounds amazing. It looks cool. It's just this big, beefy weapon. Yeah, I like it.
And Dread's gun as well.
Yeah, that's like which one are we talking about? The Stallone one or the good one?
Oh well. I was gonna say the one that for some reason we still haven't gotten a sequel for, but probably would never will. Blah blah blah. Why didn't they just make that a TV show? There's gotta be someone who's willing to burn some money in case it doesn't. Like risk money. I don't think it would be burn money.
I don't think so. No, and I feel like you could. Well, you want to have a good budget for it because there is like you want to have those crazy cityscapes, but you could do it on a low budget where it's like set in like back alleyways and slums and stuff, and it's mostly indoors.
Like the Acolyte got made. It's like make fucking that instead.
Yeah, and Carl Urban's up for it. Do it while he's young enough to still be able to pull it off.
Yeah, because he can still do it. I think, like especially with the helmet, right? Like, and then any kind of because the voice is the most important thing that we're going to be rescuing for him. Because physically speaking, he's obviously getting to a point where he's going to be doing less of it. But the fact is, you can get a stunt double to do a lot of stuff when you deal with Judge Dredd, so you'll be right.
Yeah. No, what could have been? Deza says, "Merry Christmas. How Kathleen Kennedy continues to treat the Star Wars franchise reminds me of how Homer keeps beating the shit out of the Krusty burglar with the kid crying, 'Stop! He's already dead!'"
I love when they pull him away. He's still desperately interested in killing that guy.
RRTNZ says, "Nice to catch up with you in person the other day. Great to see Lance today. Really enjoying his book. Cautiously optimistic about the Superman trailer, but I've been fooled before, unlike Chuck Norris." Yeah, I think we're all going to have to reserve judgment for the time being on Superman. But
huge topic when it comes out, though, judging from just how much it's still being talked about. That was just filling the feed, man. The Snyder. It's what Gary was talking about. There's like several factions all going to war over this trailer.
Yep. I feel like I don't have a huge investment in it either way because like I'm not this crazy.
Dude, what's funny is you asked me first, and I gave a very middle of the road, like you said, it was like a fence sitting sort of take, and then like almost every person to follow up said, "Yeah, I think I'm with Mauler on the." It's the middle of the thing. It's like it looks like everybody here feels it's kind of middle.
Yeah, it's just this is what you get when you have a pretty cautious middle of the road trailer. I suppose there's not much to pull from it.
Could be good, could be bad.
Yeah. Blue Collar Loser, seeing Sonic 3. I don't care. I got the popcorn bucket. I know they aren't for everyone, but the fans love these films. Jim Carrey is great. Keanu as Shadow. Yeah, I can confidently say I don't give a single fuck about the Sonic movies, but I'm glad that people like them. I'm glad that they've done well. It's nice to see.
I'm glad Jim Carrey still has an outlet for being a crazy clown person. Like that's always fun in movies.
The man, he's a Goodman. I think he's one of the Goodmans, and I'd like to see him do more stuff. He says as well, "I know the trailer's getting mixed reactions, but the internet tore Henry apart for Man of Steel and when he was cast as Geralt, so I'll stay optimistic for now." Yeah,
we'll see. A lot of harsh, definitive things are being said about that trailer, including about Corn Sweat's performance, which I find interesting. So it's like, dude, we've got so little to work with, but
there's not much there. No, I think I can definitely see the criticisms of the suit. Just when I see the pictures of Henry Cavill's version and this, it's like it's just such a fucking downgrade.
I mean, it's just a lot of people just seem to gravitate towards a favorite. I get it. I do. I still want to wait a little longer to see it in the film, but I get it.
It's so annoying, right, with the Snyderverse, because that fucking franchise had the worst actor. Sorry, that had the best actors in the worst movies. Maybe not so much with Wonder Woman, but
he had it all, man. It was all right. Yeah, well, even you can make her work,
They did with the first one, and like she looks like you would expect Wonder Woman to look. It's just when she has to act that's the problem.
Yeah, you got to find a way to move around that. You got to, but you could. No, it's so true. Like the potential was enormous, but I mean, I'm sorry. Like for anybody who doesn't know, there's no hope of the Snyderverse coming back, fellas. It's not happening.
Is there still people that believe that?
Oh yeah,
that's amazing. Never give up hope, guys. Never give up hope.
Never surrender.
Yeah. Nick Johnson says, a quote from Brosnan Bond that sums up modern entertainment. You forgot the first rule of mass media, Elliot. Give the people what they want. Yeah, I think that's pretty apt. I'm sure Arnold said something similar at the end of The Running Man. But yeah, same deal.
That's getting an Edgar Wright remake, right?
Is it Edgar Wright who's working on it?
I'm almost certain it's Edgar Wright, yeah, which is a strange choice, but sure. Yeah. Or am I mixing it up with someone else? Because I could have sworn it was him.
It might well be, yeah. Okay. I mean, normally the idea of remaking something like that would fill me with horror and rage, but when it's Edgar Wright, it's like, okay, I feel like he could maybe do something interesting with it, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Canada Plus says, hail to the panel. 2024 best movie, The Beekeeper. Best game, Astrobot. TV, Dear Friend Nokotan. 2024 worst movie, Joker 2, yeah. Game is Kill the Justice League, and TV show is The Acolyte.
That's all fair.
Can't argue with those ones, yeah. What's this? I'm trying to pronounce this one. This is in like Scandinavian, so it's like Arceo Markusen says, I hope that a good portion of my ticket price buys a Hollywood Hill House and tasty treats for the star, Crypto. Good trailer, in my opinion. Well, Crypto's a good boy, so he deserves something nice, if nothing else. Badger says, on holidays and catching the whole thing live for once while playing Warhammer, or painting Warhammer. Merry Christmas all from Sydney, Australia. Very nice, and I hope your figures turned out good. Chucksenhausen. Cheers to Drinker, Mauler, Gary, and especially Dark Hour today. I'm excited to hear your series finale review of Cobra Kai when it premieres in 2025. I know it's going to be hash brown legendary. I hope it is. I mean, this season's had its ups and downs, and it's definitely time for it to end. I'll say that much.
Talk to Gary about it at all?
Probably in passing. I don't think I've had a detailed conversation with him.
I think I was saying to him because he was talking about how much he was enjoyed it on Real BBC. And I was like, it feels so weird to be a part of two shows that have like the complete opposite, because I haven't seen it. So I'm just like, my co-host here says, ugh, and then the other co-host says, yeah. It's like, you guys. I think
it's definitely got like individually funny moments and stuff, and that's still good. But like when I compare it to the first couple of seasons, like, man, it's such a drop off in writing quality, and just like such a focus on these weird like teen romantic angles and stuff, and it's just kind of tedious when it comes to that. It's like we only really care about the legacy characters from the movies. That's why we're watching the show. B-Chain says, I think the other heroes will represent the decline of the superhero genre, and Superman's arc in the film will be to restore trust and faith in heroes again. Could be looking into it too much, but we'll see. I mean, I think that's fair.
Part of speculation from a long time back when they first showed sets of photos of Nathan Fillion and Hawkgirl and stuff. The costumes looked awful, like to the point of it being like, oh wait, this is probably on purpose. Like their costumes are they're provided by Max Lord in universe, right? He's like, they're the corporate heroes that suck ass, and they look like they're mad with Superman. Like Superman's probably gotten involved, and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to, like we're the ones that save people or something. Like I could totally see that being the narrative for sure.
Sorry, I was just reaching over there to try and get a light on because I was just aware that it's very dark here. And yeah, like I can sort of get behind that. I was curious about how Max Lord is going to fit into any of this, because Yeah, like are they going to give
Could be
him
a small role.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it is because it's Sean Gunn. But oh well, that's a different road to go down. I'm not going to
Hey,
go
maybe
another
this will
rant
be his
about him.
breakout, and you'll be like, "Wow, you know what? Sean Gunn's my favorite actor of all time now."
He's won me over, and now I can't get enough of him.
Yes,
Because we never talked about this on the night as well. It's nice to see Nathan Fillion doing stuff again.
I'm hyper fond of that guy. So
Yeah.
I could get him doing anything. I'm on board.
Always good. Next up is, Aaron Sharman says, it's been another great year watching you guys. A fantastic 2024. The other day, I was thinking about why I enjoy watching all of your streams so much more than most things on TV, and it hit me. Let's see where part 2 is. Where is it? Where is it?
The
Where is it?
suspense.
I know, because he's obviously taken a while to type out the next one, and loads of other people have put something in between. Where is it?
Maybe he's never going to let us know.
Wow,
That's the mystery.
Keeping us in suspense forever. Right, well, I guess we'll get to it eventually by default anyway.
All right.
So yeah, I'll go back to... Otherwise, I'm just going to lose my place here. Will Dreamer says, reading Brave New World, I got to the Bureau of Propaganda by Synthetic Voice, reminding me of modern Hollywood. Maybe that's why they're using more AI. It could well be. Jimmy Dantes, Drinker, shameless plug for my podcast, The Long Road Home Alone, where we discuss Home Alone, 80s and 90s cinema, Star Trek, and more. Cheers, you filthy animals. Also, Chris, greetings from West Michigan. Cool. Thanks, man. Timmy04. Can't believe Muller made me turn on Arcane Season 2. He oinked poison in my ear and I ate it. Also, Merry Christmas.
Do you remember that line from it's like the penultimate episode, or even maybe the last one? I can't remember anymore. But she says to Caitlin that Ambessa oinked poison in her ear. It was one of the most like, oh, fuck. What lie? Why did you write that? and then to say she oinked it into your ear and you ate it. You know, it's like
it's a tough sell. That it would take quite
redraft,
an actor to
please.
make that work. Yeah. Rimmed says, hola, Drinker and Mauler and panel. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the next Disobedient Canine game. Greetings from Mexico. By the way, Ellie is gay. We know she's gay, don't worry. And yeah, thoughts on that Interstellar, the heretic prophecy man bad that's thing.
Hideous fucking name for a game, as far as I'm concerned. What a clunky mess, to the point where Drinker just illustrated he's not even 100% sure if that's the name of it. That's what everyone's going to do with it. They'll be like, it's called Intergalactic Killers. You're just like, what? You're like, I don't know. Worship the hair. It's I mean, it's the same thing every time, right? We've seen barely anything. Nothing looks interesting about it, and it's Naughty Dog, so Neil Druckmann is going to make that thing a miserable experience, probably.
Yes, that's the biggest problem, I think. And yeah, we've talked about the protagonist and like how in the current climate, like she's going to get judged as harshly as people possibly can for obvious reasons. The only thing that I kind of liked, and this could be just me, is like the alternate history thing, because it's meant to be set in like 1986 or something, and it's like an alternate history where space travel is advanced super quickly, but you know the technology is still at that sort of 1980s level, and culture is as well. So it's this crazy mishmash of, you know, it's like Blade Runner, I suppose. That's what the aesthetic they're going for, which is fine. I don't think the rest of the story is going to make good on that promise. It's just, hey, the 80s seem to be kind of cool right now, or at least they were 5 years ago when this game was commissioned. I think it's probably been done to death now with Stranger Things to some extent, but I can see the thought process behind doing it. But yeah, as for the rest of it, I think it's going to be, as you say, a pretty miserable experience. I think the protagonist is going to be unlikable as fuck. And it's, yeah, Naughty Dog's not been the same since, was it Amy Hennig, who used to do the Uncharted games? She was like their lead writer. Since
yeah, that's how the story goes, I think, is that she's more responsible for the better era of Naughty Dog.
Yeah, since she was ousted and Neil Druckmann took over, like, good lord, yeah, that's gone downhill.
Naughty Dog there was a time where they had some big old respect. It ain't now. Not at all. So
yeah, that's our thoughts. Next says Wes Spheum says, "Hail Drinker, quite enjoyed your Ryan Drake short film, and it made me want to read the books. But seeing as I can't get them on Audible, what's this? Oh, seeing as I can, I got them on Audible, and I finished the first one today. Really liked it. Now I'm on the second, 10 chapters in. A good listen. Excellent. I'm glad you're enjoying the Ryan Drake books. So yeah, let me know how you get on." The Saint Zor says, Jasna Colin, an actual well-written girl boss scholar and queen who accepts that all her book knowledge isn't a substitute for the years of experience of war generals and thus leaves them to do the battle plans. I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. That would be a sensible character. CVI Malo says, "Greetings, Muller, Drinker, and the other guests. My goal is to someday send a super chat that sparks a 15 to 20-minute debate. Until that time, here's my first super chat. Much love from Oklahoma. Cheers." Thank you, man. And I suppose that's the nature of it. Sometimes, like, you know, you can get a bunch of super chats and there's not much you can add to them, and then someone will just ask something or it will spark some conversation that just goes off on a complete tangent. And
yeah, it's the
fun.
meme of like, hey, you guys, you know, what do you think of blah 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 as an actor? And then we talk about their entire career and every film, and then we're like, what happened? Where are we? What's going on? Like,
We're still doing super chats. What?
oh my god.
Rossi sent us a super sticker. Thank you. Craig Julin says, "Jesus, 2025 looks horrible for movies, full of big budget sequels, remakes, and spin offs. Hopefully, Brad Pitt's F1 movie is going to be good, and Mission Impossible 8. I mean, fingers crossed. Yeah, it's a lot of sequels.
We'll see. Yeah.
Shotgun Fringe. Capcom removed the original version of Bury the Light from Devil May Cry for legal reasons. My workout playlist is a lot less epic. Damn shame. Oh, you must be able to get it somewhere, surely. Nothing's gone forever like that, but yeah, it's a shame that they did it. Istaria Azul says, Corin Sweat is one of the chosen ones. I bet that's why he was picked for this. Couldn't tell you. Don't know anything about him. Normal Man. If you could, a Men in Black style wipes a movie out of existence, no one can reference it and no one is influenced by it anymore. From this point forward, the film essentially no longer exists. Which one would you choose?
Ooh. So we need to find the movie that did the most damage in terms of like influencing people in bad ways.
See, my instinct is to say something like TLJ, right? Because I feel like that started a chain reaction that just destroyed so many franchises and fandoms and just put everyone at war with each other. But I almost feel like that was necessary. It was necessary to have a film like that that really fired people up and made them realize, like, yeah, this is what they're doing now to our films, and it's not right. So I feel like that was a necessary evil.
It probably needed to find something in like the 2000s or the 90s where it was like a particularly bad film that did really well and set way too many people into like trying to copy it. Like, what's like the bad version of The Matrix where it created a whole bunch of tropes and it was terrible on its own anyway? I'm trying to think. There's gotta be something.
Yeah. I feel like in terms of success, I might like remove Avatar.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Just on the basis, because I feel like it ushered in this new era of like super big budget, like crazy visual effects driven movies that like had no real substance behind them. And I wonder what the world would look like if that had never existed.
That could be a good shout, actually, because I am definitively not. And you know what? Maybe I'm just going to add this in. It forces James Cameron to make anything else.
That's the other thinking behind it. It was like, oh man, James Cameron could have made like 3 or 4 other movies in that time, and they probably would have been way better. So that would have been nice. Moshi Cat says, "Gentlemen, I just found out that I'm expecting a baby boy in 2025, so it's going to be a great year unless I watch Snow White. Any ideas for names?" And Drinker, when the video on Attack on Titan finale, Merry Christmas to all the panel. Yeah, I mean,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. The Attack on Titan video, like, I don't know, do people want another one from me? Because, you know, I feel like I gave my thoughts on the show already. Like, maybe they really want like that conclusion to it. Maybe they think it's going to change my opinion of the show. I can do it for sure. Yeah, as for names, what are we thinking here? Should we Rey, maybe, after the greatest character in Star Wars history?
Wow, yeah, that's a good name.
Because Ray's great. It could be a boy or a girl, as we've discovered.
Well, he confirmed as a boy, right? So,
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, but what I mean is like Ray can work for either one. So yeah.
okay. Reginald, very strong name, isn't it?
It's a classic name. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
see too many Reginalds these days. It's kind of like Harold. Like it's just
Yeah, which is
not
honestly
big.
a shame.
Yeah, we need more names like that. Hamish, I like Hamish.
Ooh.
Anyway, congratulations to you, man, and yeah, good luck becoming a dad. 925 Moto says, just wish my dad could have seen the trailer. Superman was his favorite hero since his childhood, and he would have loved it. Aw, well, at the very least, he got the Christopher Reeve movies, so he's probably seen the best of Superman on screen already.
Don't rule out Darth Vader as a name, by the way.
Well, yeah, never rule it out.
He ended, unlike Daenerys, who went crazy at the end. Darth Vader was a good guy at the end, so
he turned sane at the end.
Yeah.
Gleeman says, I wonder if Molly will agree, but Gunn's Superman seems like Snyder's Superman with brighter colors. Didn't really give me bright and hopeful vibes.
I don't think so. This is a complication. It's going to be the next trailer, I think, that we'll be able to solidify what we're actually getting. Because if you remember, there's some commentary about like how this looks depressing. This looks he's destroyed. It's like this isn't hopeful, blah blah. And it's like, oh well, that's like the intention, right? To show us he's in a bad spot and he's going to fight his way out of it. So like, give it a second sort of thing, like we'll see. Maybe the main trailer is gonna try and capture that with a couple of quotes of like, this world needs you, Superman, or stuff like that. And by the end, the film is gonna end very positively for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this is not going to be as soul crushing as a Zack Snyder movie.
No,
I think the tone will be a lot more hopeful than that, at least. Then again, so was like Boy in the Striped Pajamas, It's just like that's the way Zack Snyder is.
Yeah.
Andrew Eels says, Merry Christmas, Drinker, Mauler, and Panel. Let's hope 2025 brings more hope and less woke. I'll second that. Dojo Coder says, my optimistic prediction for the Superman movie is that the rest of the superheroes in the movie are very corporatized and bleak, an allegory for superheroes that we get today, and Superman will show them how to be a hopeful symbol again. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and I think that's a fair take, an absolutely fair take on the situation. David Gannon, hail panel. Gary, can you convince the rest of the panel to go see Red One in theaters? The visuals are worth it, and the film is 2 hours and 35 minutes, so too big for TV. Oh, right. Sorry, 2:35 by 1, so it's too big for TVs. I mean, no, I don't want to go and see it in theaters. And I don't think Gary could convince me either. It's The Rock. I just don't care enough to watch it. Mystic Puma says, please view the new AI anti-woke Doctor Who trailer. Is that a thing?
I have not heard anything like that.
Jack of all trades says, looks great, but having so many characters only ensures that they won't be developed, sacrificing valuable time from the main plot. It is a risk. It is definitely a risk.
Yeah. It could fall apart, honestly, under its own weight, for sure.
Blade says, I'm about 20% hopeful for this movie. They did Nathan Fillion dirty with that haircut. I mean, it's comic accurate, I guess, so that's the reason.
Hey, this could be the very opposite of doing him dirty. This could be, if he does the character right, he might be the best part of it, for all we know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. My retarded uncle said that it won't compare to Man of Steel, which is his favorite Superman movie, but he is retarded. I don't know if you saw this, right? But there was a post that made me laugh on. Must have been lifted from Reddit or something. It's like, what's the most retarded thing your dad's ever done? And this guy replied to say, like,
I saw this. Yeah,
he wrote a complete script for The Grinch too.
Yeah.
And every Christmas he gets drunk and rants about it that we didn't support it. I fucking respect that guy.
Yeah, we need to make that movie happen.
That's amazing. Apparently, it took him like 8 months of work as well.
The sheer passion.
Tom Waiting says they're rebooting Malcolm in the Middle. God has abandoned us. Yeah, it
Little
seems
bit,
like
yeah.
it. Skeleton Bro says, I recently watched The Man Who Invented Christmas, recommended, and I saw Morford Clark genuinely acting with emotion and nuance, which proves that the directors for Rings of Power are just terrible at their jobs. I mean, I can believe that for sure, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd never even heard of her when she was cast in this, and I can't recall ever seeing her in anything.
No, and obviously she hasn't impressed at all in Rings of Power. So.
It could, yeah, I mean, could be that she's just cast in a role that she's got no experience and no aptitude towards, like this kind of high fantasy figure. I mean, how come you don't know her? You're Welsh. You all know each other there, don't you?
I'll have to go to the next Welsh meeting because, all of us, there's only 12 of us here,
Mm.
so I should have known her.
You need to get this
Snuck
sorted.
up on me, yeah.
Right. Derek says there's been a lot of anti-Semitism, racism, and homophobia on my Twitter feed lately. But what disgusts me more than anything are the posts that are praising The Last Jedi. That is bad. That is truly bad.
They do that every anniversary. They'll just drum up the whole like, "Oh my god, actually the greatest thing ever." It's
Yeah.
like you can't get like be in denial all you want. Obviously, that's a thing for humans, but it destroyed the fucking franchise objectively. Like, I'm not talking about the quality of the movie. Even I'm just talking about the results of it, which is how many great movies can make that claim where they annihilated like the money making ability of a franchise.
It's an achievement. If nothing else, it is definitely an achievement. The ones that make me laugh are where they'll grab a selection of screen like grabs that are just like really pretty visually impressive scenes and be like, how can you hate this movie? It's pure cinema. It's like, oh yeah, cool, because we totally judge a movie on like the quality of the visuals. That's what matters.
And that's what I meant, by the way, by when I say great movie, I obviously don't fucking think TLJ is great, but my point is that it's pretty hard to consider it great with the damage it did.
Yeah.
It's, not necessarily impossible, but I'm just saying that Star Wars was never the fucking same after that one.
If nothing else, I mean, I would call it a significant movie.
Yes.
Significant in all the wrong ways. Normal Man says, my only question about the Superman movie is why isn't Nathan Fillion playing Hal Jordan? Well, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Jorg Diaz, gentlemen, to my great shame, I have been listening to all of you talk about the golden era of Star Trek, but I have never watched any of it. Where should I begin? What should I avoid? Thank you in advance. Woof. That must be weird to listen to us do a watch through of a movie that you haven't seen.
I listened to Red Light Media do their breakdown of like Picard season 1 and 2, and I had no context. It's kind of, you can sort of follow the conversation for the most part with those sorts of things, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going to start anywhere, I'd start with Wrath of Khan. I think you don't need to have watched Star Trek: The Motion Picture to jump into that one. It kind of gives you enough, and it's a much more entertaining movie to start you off. So yeah, watch those all the way to Undiscovered Country, and then maybe go back and rewatch or watch The Motion Picture, so you've at least experienced it. And then if you're enjoying it, go on to The Next Generation. That's probably what I would recommend. Retro Mando says, Mauler, are you going to do an EFAP ever on Love, Death, and Robots? At least season 3, episode 2. It's so good.
There's a handful of episodes I like, and that's just not enough for me to think to do much of any kind of coverage on any of it. There's cool ideas executed pretty well here and there.
You must have loved the Cthulhu one, surely.
I think we've talked about it. It just didn't do much for me. It happens pretty quickly, and it's just more visually like, yeah, that's it almost feels like what I would present if it weren't so impressive, like animation and graphic wise. It would be the storyboard of like, I got an idea, what else should we do with this? Like, it felt like it hadn't I don't know, I kind of watched it and I was just like, oh, that's that, okay. I thought maybe there'd be more in it.
Yeah, I think in some cases they're almost just like presenting you with interesting concepts rather than telling you a really good, well-rounded story. Which, you know, it's fine. Like, because a lot of them are super short, but yeah. Did you watch the rest of Secret Level?
No.
Oh, okay.
Did
You
you watch
definitely
any?
started. Oh yeah, I've watched all of them.
Oh, okay.
Apart from the Pac-Man one, because you hated it so much. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't
Well,
want to go near
I
that.
mean, I didn't hate. I just thought it was really fucking funny. Like I don't know what you'd think of it. You should check it out just in case. Maybe
Yeah,
you'll love
maybe.
it.
Maybe it's probably only like 10 minutes long, but yeah, it's much along the same lines as Love, Death, and Robots, but like it's all the
Mhm.
sort of higher quality animation. So yeah, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one is pretty goofy, but yeah, it's fun for what it is, I guess.
Hmm.
Strange Days says, regarding James Gunn's Superman, do you think including so many superheroes and supervillains in this installment suggests an intention to follow up with prequels? Wishing a Merry Christmas to each and every one of you and your loved ones. And the same to you, sir. I think it's more like, yeah, is it going to be a launch pad for sequels and spin-offs rather than prequels?
Prequels, sequels, midquels, Grim Girls, remakes, multiverse. Throw it all in. Why not? That's what I expect is going to happen eventually, and that's probably what Warner Brothers want, right? It's,
Sure. I mean, they've been chasing that MCU for,
Yeah.
10 years now? This is their opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
David Gannon, Mahler's whelmed remark reminds me of a couple of weeks ago when he said he was feeling mystic about something.
Yeah, you got to try and find ways to explain yourself, you know?
Yeah. Jan Smetana says, thanks, guys, for making some random doctor from the Czech Republic laugh and be entertained. Listening to Open Bar while struggling in hospital. Thanks. Oh, thanks, man. And glad we could keep you entertained. What's I to the C to the E? Says, you're being dramatic. Hollywood existed before superhero films and it will exist after them in a different form, perhaps. Yeah, I don't think because we talked about this on the night. I think the success of this movie is going to decide the fate of superhero films, I think, and the viability going forward. It's not going to determine the survival of Hollywood as an entity. Like that's
At most,
far too big.
Determine the survival of it as it currently stands. But yeah, it'll definitely always evolve, adapt, move different places. It's never going to go away because people fucking love movies. You know, it'll just have to change the way. Like their investment in streaming was like a mistake, a broad, big mistake, and not a mistake in the sense that they were completely wrong, but I think they mishandled and misunderstood what they were dealing with, like didn't properly take advantage of it, right? Like if they could go back in time, you'd see a whole bunch of different decisions being made, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree for sure with that. Master of Puppets says, with the rise of video game movies and series, do you think a live action Metal Gear Solid would work? I mean, it could. It's like,
sure,
you'd probably, because there's two ways they could go with this, right? They could try and make it like super grounded and realistic, and it literally is like tactical espionage action. So you ditch all the like outlandish, crazy, concepts and characters, or you tone them down to sort of penguin levels, or you just fully embrace it and just go all out with all the Hideo Kojima isms. And I honestly don't know which approach would be better with this. I think probably the first one would give you more mass market appeal, but then you'd lose the essence of what makes Metal Gear Solid special. But either way, I think there is an interesting story to be told there, and I'm kind of amazed they've never done it, considering how cinematic the games try to be. It's an odd one. Maybe Konami are just really, really careful about who they give the rights to. I don't know. Karl Mikovits says, fun fact, 28 years later is shot on iPhone 15. Interesting parallel to how 28 days later was shot on a low-res camcorder back in the day.
Yes, but have you looked at the photo of them actually like filming it? The rig they've got is insane, considering you call that an iPhone. Like I saw someone, it was like a viral post saying, oh my god, they did it with an iPhone, and someone quote tweeted being like, calling this doing it with an iPhone feels really fucking disingenuous. It's like,
Yes.
a little bit.
It's not just like a dude holding it like, in
Yeah.
a field or something. Jamaican Bacon, do you prefer your climaxes in the middle or towards the end in terms of storytelling, of course? Well, in my experiences, having them in the middle tends to get messy afterwards, purely in storytelling terms. So I prefer to have them towards the end. Just feels like a natural place. Ominous Flair says, Snyder completely lost my trust in his handling of Superman the moment he had Jimmy Olsen shot in the head.
Fuck me, that was something else as a decision.
It was a choice. It was definitely a choice. And it's proof that not all choices are good.
That was such a Zack Snyder move. Like, look, it's Jimmy Olsen. Fucking brains get blown out. What?
I'm honestly surprised it didn't happen in slow motion.
Yeah.
What was the next one? Campbell Patterson. Hey, Drinker, just want to say thanks for making me a Lord of the Rings fan. Yay! I have now watched the movies and I'm currently reading the books and I love them so much. Merry Christmas, lads. Here's $50 for some eggnog. Cheers, my friend. Thank you. And I'm glad you're enjoying Lord of the Rings. Must be an interesting experience, actually, to watch the movies first and then read the books. Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's Mr. Yang. Drinker, do you think Mauler will completely destroy the storytelling in Attack on Titan, or do you think they actually did a good job with the twists and turns? I personally liked it. I liked how it rephrased certain characters' actions, and I like how it's a commentary on the nature of war. You know, everyone thinks that they're in the right. Everyone thinks that they're the morally righteous side fighting against an evil tyranny or whatever. And the show plays with that quite well. But as with all things, I'm sure Mauler can show me the error of my ways if he ever watches it.
I'm sure I'll love it.
Yeah. Trooper says, looks like it'll be Spider-Man 3 of Superman films. Crypto stole the trailer, says a lot, and it ain't all good. Normal man. Zack Snyder has the color palette of a dog.
Okay.
That's a strange thing to reference, but okay. He has the sensibilities of a fish. Vinyl Morpheus. I couldn't believe that we saw a man and woman passionately kiss in a Hollywood trailer. What the fuck is a woman, though? It does feel like a bit of a rarity nowadays to show romance on screen. What are they doing? Again, I think
Terrifying.
James Gunn kind of understands his audience, hopefully. Spicky. Amazing panel. A great way to recover from my root canal surgery. Merry Christmas to you all and an even better New Year. Hey, you must have had an awesome experience watching Open Bar that night. You would have been doped to the gills. So, yeah, nice. Normal man. Do you think Gunn just wants to get Justice League International?
I think he wants everything. I think he wants the DC brand to be fucking hyper successful. I think he wants to be the guy who saved it. So everything, all of it, just bring it all in. I could imagine he thinks this is him to the end now. You know, committing to DC is a huge, enormous thing.
Yeah, potentially. That's quite depressing, actually, to think like that's it. Like,
if I would to commit to something like that, I would at least hope privately that I'd be like, you know what, let's try and explore loads of different awesome kinds of things to keep it fresh, instead of just feeling like you're stapled to something like the MCU, where it's just sludge shit.
Yeah, I wonder if Kevin Feige actually has a soul at this point, or if it's all been sucked out of him, like just churning out MCU movies. Jesus. Shaker Silver says, what are you on, Drinker? Guardians and Suicide Squad aren't ironic and subversive, and while tongue-in-cheek, they're very earnestly emotional. Well, here's my thinking on that, right? They do play up to the idea of the genuinely heroic hero who's just out to do good. Like, I think we can all agree that the Guardians are misfits. They are anti-heroes to a great degree. They ultimately end up coming good and doing good things, but they're scavengers, they're criminals, they're outlaws, they're everything, you know? And Gunn has a lot of fun riffing on like the ideas of heroism and living virtuous lives, because they absolutely don't. And I'm guessing what I'm saying is like they're the opposite of what a character like Superman is. And it's very much the same with the Suicide Squad. Again, a team of complete renegades, misfits, criminals, in some cases, actual bad people who are just genuinely shit. Just because they can learn to work together and do a good thing doesn't just make them good guys all of a sudden. They are still morally conflicted characters. And I feel like that's just something that appeals to him as a writer, and it appeals to his sensibilities because it allows you to work in the snarky, ironic humor, the self-deprecating mockery of like heroism before they discover their own path to a slightly different version of it. That was a really long-winded way of like breaking down the point I was originally making. I get you. Anyway, Cuban says, Last week, I meant the Shat catch up for Madam Web with the joke for rags. I started wearing the hoodie to work. A guy asked me where I got the Rag and Mauler hoodie, and he said, your vids got too long, so he unsubscribed, and I just stared silently at him.
Yeah.
That's probably the correct approach, I would say. Tyler says, this isn't postmodern Superman. This will be meta-modern Superman, an earnest reconstruction of the deconstruction. I'm into it, and I think we need it. I mean, if that's what it is, then great. I'd love that.
I can see that being the idea.
It's almost, yeah, like this idea of coming full circle and now just having earnest, honest, old-fashioned heroes is like the new hip, crazy thing. Like, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's where it'll go.
The idea, because have you seen the discussions, I assume, of like Superman boring or not sort of thing, and I think we're well past the he's boring phase now. We're back into he's actually pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah. There's a reason that a character like that can be started in 1938 and still be popular, still be getting movies made about him. There's a timelessness to him, just like there's a timelessness to James Bond. And the more you try and deviate from the archetype that made him so popular in the first place, the more you date him and you lose him. Immortal Remas says, I'm surprised Warner Brothers didn't do a live-action Crypto the Superdog movie back in the 90s when buddy animal family comedies were all the rage, it seems. Warner Brothers are quite retarded, though, and I don't know, maybe they just couldn't figure out a way to make it work. I've never really seen Crypto on screen in any movie. Like, it's very much a comic book thing. Matt PG. Merry Christmas, y'all. Drinker, loved the members-only live stream. Thank you. Unfortunately, I had to step out before I could chat with you, but I'll just have to catch the next one. Absolutely. Great panel tonight, by the way. Cheers from the garage. Thanks, man. And yeah, I'm planning to do a lot more of those. I want to make it a regular thing again. So glad you enjoyed it. Sentry says, is it just me or does the CGI and lighting look a bit like a CW production? It does a little bit. I don't know if it's the oversaturation.
Something about there's a brightness thing on it as well that sort of stands out. It's like I'm not sure exactly what it is. I feel like I need to see more to get at it, but everybody's been commenting on it, how it's graded. It seems noticeable.
I mean, because it's an early teaser trailer, there's a good possibility that like it's early CGI and it hasn't been fully finished yet, touched up, and like maybe the color grading hasn't been fully done.
Maybe
all of this stuff can be tweaked as they get closer to launching, so I can get that for sure. John Rice, I wish the next movie continued the dystopian teaser at the end of the Snyder Cut. Black Adam and Super Friends battle Darkseid and mind-controlled Superman. Sadly, I don't think we'll ever pick up on that plot thread.
Oh well.
Ominous Flare. I agree it's a breath of fresh air, so it might be like Spider-Man Homecoming, returning to the roots of the character, if nothing too groundbreaking. Hey, at this point, I could take that. You know, not groundbreaking, but just a solid, honest Superman movie. That will be okay. Land Porpoise. Considering this is a James Gunn film, how many jokes do you think they will make about Superman's underwear being on the outside of his pants? There's a pretty strong chance.
Yeah, it's kind of a coin flip.
Yep. And do you think that would detract from him? Because the moment you start mocking him, it's like, oh, you're almost tacitly encouraging the audience to make fun of him too.
Perhaps there's a way to do it that is having the opposite result, as in the context of the joke makes it work better. In the, you know, if you have someone like Nathan Fillion's character insulting him for that, when the context is that he looks absurd himself, if you know what I mean, like, and you can try and find a way to maybe highlight it and defend it. I'm trying to think, like, there could be a context where it could work, but simultaneously, you know, it's James Gunn, so who knows?
Yeah. I like this one as well. Bobby Preet Singh says, 4 years of EFAP movies and you couldn't stay for 40 more minutes to grade the war arc. Is sleep that important? Really enjoyed it though, thanks. Yeah, I think by the time we finished, wasn't it like 1 a.m. or something? Like,
it was the end of Gladiator, which is not the shortest film.
It's a big boy of a movie, and yeah, sleep was quite important. And I had no idea how long that conversation was going to continue, like based on my experience with EFAP, like trying to grade and order all of the movies that we watched and like go over all the plot points that made them good and bad. That could have easily taken another 3 hours. And I just thought, I don't want to get involved in it and then leave like halfway through.
Goga
So
made a wonderful edit of our discussion. But the funny part was that at the beginning, if anyone's watched it, it's Sargon that suggests it. Pretty much everyone's on board. And then when the time comes, he leaves immediately. It's like, okay.
Terrell Coates, OMG, enough with the too many characters shit. Can we please remember that Captain America Civil War and how that still remains a Cap movie despite having more characters than Superman?
Nobody
Yes, it
said it's
does.
impossible. We have said several times you can make it work, but you also can easily fail this. And I think we have more examples of failures than successes. And that's the third movie in a character's trilogy. This is the first of a reboot of a character that needs to be taken great care with, you know? So,
Yeah,
not the same scenario.
Not just the third movie, but most of those characters had multiple other movies outside the Cap ones, so we knew them all. They weren't introduced like we knew.
Civil War gets
who
to
they were.
benefit from giving scenes to certain characters that, yeah, they've got all their build up in other shit. Like Iron Man's role in that film is huge, but you need Ultron, you need Iron Man 1, you need all the other stuff like to contextualize it, which it has the benefit of. Big fan of Civil War, but this is not the same.
Geofry says, forgot to put in a message on the last one, but cheers and Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you, sir, and to you. Spartan Bot. That man looks exactly like a career farmer in his 70s. I see old farmers every day, and they all share the same look. It's a Midwest thing. That'll be Jonathan Kent then. Terrell Coates. The Hawk Girl, Metamorpho, and others could, and maybe are, tasked with taking down Soups. That's it. Maybe they're just there for that one action scene. James said that it's a Lois, Lex, and Clark movie.
I mean, from what I gathered, you got the Max Lord heroes are gonna be called in to probably take on that giant creature, and then Superman will be the one to probably beat it, and maybe in the process of him killing it, it'll land on something and destroy it, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the whole crowd will be like, "Who the fuck is this guy? He just ruined everything." And then, of course, the team will come in and be like, "Who the hell are you? And what the hell did you just do?" Like, we're the ones that save the world, that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So how much they'll
possible.
be in the movie, who knows?
Irish Trash. This whole trailer is very 1950s in flavor to me. I mean, I don't know how many 1950s movies you've seen, but it doesn't really feel like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I get that vibe, but we'll see.
Axie says, having crypto in this movie is a huge risk. It's about time that Hollywood started taking more risks. Love to see it. I kind of disagree. Like, yeah, okay, the crypto as a thematic element is like, yeah, it could be goofy and it could kind of spoil the film. But overall, the tone of the trailer I thought was very safe. It was very safe and cautious and just quite keen not to offend and just show us standard superhero stuff. Nothing wrong with that.
Crypto's not going to be in a huge amount of the movie.
I hope not. No. And I hope he's not like integral to taking down the bad guy or something ridiculous like that.
I can buy the idea, though, that it's like you're risking some audience members being like, I mean, we've seen it in the literal chat audience, people being like, that's ridiculous, it's stupid. And it's like, yeah, you could put people off completely with that, maybe. We'll have to see. I know Gary's kind of in favor of it, right? Because he's very familiar with his appearances in the comics.
Sure, and I'll defer to him, I guess. He knows his stuff.
Have to see how they do it.
G-Man says, did Metropolis defund the police? There's one cop working crowd control when Superman walks into the building. I mean, there's like one in shot. Who knows how many there are around the area? Utah Utes says, Howard Hamlin is the GOAT. There you go.
That would be Better Call Saul, I think.
Ah, right. Stuart Fields, I just can't do the same Superman tropes over and over again. Seen it all so many times in the past 50 years, I'll just watch the Reeves movies again. I don't blame you. Soma Kalem says, that dog had to lick so many faces to get the role of Crypto. Wasn't even allowed to sit on the couch. DG Gamer says, blood in the mouth disappears and then reappears. I guess that's shot out of sequence then. You know,
Maybe.
what you see in the teaser is like obviously not accurate to the movie in the sense that it's in sequence. Radio Spec says, good to see that juror number 2 found work after the trial. Nice. Normal Man says, if Drinker likes the menu, can he tell us what's on it? Yes. Vengeance and bitterness and failed dreams.
That reminds me of I think it's the 2000 Grinch film where Jim Carrey's stealing all the shit, and then the little girl asks him, "What's Christmas all about?" And then he pokes his head through the Christmas tree and says, "Revenge," or something like that. Vengeance and shit.
Alex Belfort says, according to Seinfeld, though, they're real and they're spectacular. Good. Not Your Friend Pal says, skinny fat Superman in a baggy costume is such a downgrade from Cavill. I mean, the funny thing is, right, because I was looking up the actor and it showed me pictures of him training when he was like prepping for this role, and he's big. He is big and bulky, so he obviously did like get into shape for the role, but you'd never know it from that costume, and that's such a shame. Because if I was him, I'd be really pissed off. Like, damn, man, I want people to see my muscles. I don't want to be under like all these layers and look like shit. But yeah, costume-wise, it does seem like a downgrade.
I
from
assume
Cavill's version.
He'll have a scene with his shit off fully. In this
They will.
movie.
Yeah, it always happens. Yeah, Joe the Uber Geek says, Lois, a clear Scottish 7, everywhere else a 4. Yeah. I think a Scottish 7 is probably a 3 most other places. David Gannon says, sounds like a Bowie song, tits without a face. Matt PG, Die Hard-ish. Tank Masu says, Superman is the equivalent of Goku for us in Japan, so he's my favorite Western hero. I hope he is well represented as the hope that we all need. Well, there's a lot riding on him.
Sure, yeah.
Black Kane says, the quality of its cuisine and the beauty of its women have made the men of the British Isles the greatest sailors in history. True, very true. Tessellate says, every Navy SEAL who ever lived lives in you. Okay. Reverend John, Clive Owen is still one of the greatest movies of all time. Children of Men. That was a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one.
Filmmaking in that film's off the charts, but it's just weird. It's like, where's Clive Owen been?
Yeah, I feel like maybe, actors get to sort of middle age and they experience a bit of a career slump because people don't know what to cast them in. He's kind of too old to be the hero now, but like maybe not quite old enough to be like a mentor character. And it's like, okay, what do we do?
He's got to wait until he's a bit older.
You've got to bide your time in shitty Daisy Ridley Die Hard rip-off movies.
You got to hope for a Breaking Bad or a Whiplash where you can launch your already okay-ish career into superstardom. People are like, wow, I didn't know you were capable of such things. Clive Owen needs to do Whip Bad or Breaking Flash.
Breaking Flash. I remember there was a time he was kind of tipped to be the next James Bond.
Do you remember him doing kind of James Bond in the Pink Panther remake?
I don't think I've seen the remake. No, I don't think I've seen it.
I think as like a kind of Bond parody, but I mean, I don't know. He has a bit of an aura for it. I would have been curious to have seen an attempt, maybe, but isn't there a big fight over that right now?
Yeah, there's all kinds of legal issues. Barbara Broccoli, who owns the rights to the Bond character and stuff, she's working with Amazon, and she described them as fucking idiots, which I think is fair.
Yeah, that's probably an understatement. I can only imagine the first 10,000 fucking suggestions are going to be terrible for James Bond until they maybe settle on something sane.
Because she is surprisingly based, actually. She's like, no, James Bond is always going to be a man. That's the way the character is. Stop like entertaining this nonsense idea that we're going to like turn him into James Bond.
It's funny. I wonder if fans would be receptive to this. Is like an insane idea, but if they were just like they got with Pierce Brosnan and they just said we're going to do a trilogy of old man Bond movies just to while we figure out what the fuck we're doing with present day Bond.
I feel like if you did that, that's how you'd have to end Bond on screen. You can't then pull back from that and then be like, okay, we're rebooting and doing a different thing. Like,
well, but the thing is, like, you can't do it for much longer because he's getting pretty old. It would just be maybe a way to actually reinvigorate if you made them really fucking good that people were like, yeah, I do. Because I don't know. my brain, whenever I think about Daniel Craig Bond, it like sinks. I'm just like, "Ugh."
Yeah, well, I'm the same. I've said this a million times. It's like, God, he's the most depressing Bond that's ever been cast. Like, I never get excited about watching his movies, even though some of them are individually great movies. I think they succeed in spite of him rather than because of him.
And it almost makes
I-
me feel like if we replace what the last Bond's ending was with someone else again, like the previous one, I'm just desperate to be like, it's not picking up after that. Maybe decanonize it. I don't know.
well,
Fucking No Time to Die, dude. I don't want that to be the latest Bond.
No. And they've just made such a horrendous fucking choice with this. The whole Daniel Craig era was shit. Like the idea that like now there's like this real continuity between them and it's a big overarching story, and now he's fucking dead. Like, okay, where are we supposed to go from here now? What do you even do with it?
So I was gonna suggest is like, rebooted Bond after doing an old man Bond. Is that truly a worse position than reboot him after he got killed on screen? Not that hasn't happened before, but you know what I mean. Like the way they
This
did
is
it.
they had the best solution that you could realistically have up until the Daniel Craig era, where it's like, okay, every so often we have to recast the actor because they age
Yeah.
out of the role and get someone else in. And we're just going to have like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, yeah, this is kind of the same guy. It's still the same character. Just don't ask too many questions about it. And that's fine. Like, it works because like the continuity was loose enough that you could just buy into it and not have to worry too much about it and just enjoy the particular adventure he was on.
The audience agreed with the creators. We're not going to look into it too hard. It's like, yeah, okay.
Sure, yeah, because it's not like hardcore espionage action. If you want realism, don't watch a James Bond movie, and that's fine. But yeah, they totally reversed it with the Daniel Craig era, and it's like they didn't plan ahead, thinking like, yeah, eventually Daniel Craig is going to get old and he's going to leave the role, and then what the fuck do we do? We'll kill him. Okay, yeah, genius. Yeah, honestly, I think at this point, I would just. The only way to do it is literally do a complete hard reset on the whole thing. And there was rumors going around like they were going to set it in like the 1960s in the Cold War. They would have someone like Christopher Nolan direct it. I don't necessarily want to see him direct a Bond movie because I think it would be boring as fuck. But yeah, that idea I think would be fine. Like take it right back to the roots of the franchise. Post World War II, Cold War. Bond's been brought in. He's still like a man of action, and you can then have the tropes of the era and still make him the sort of man's man Bond that you expect and that the fans expect. But they'll never do it, obviously, because that would be too smart and too enjoyable.
It'll happen at some point. They'll get him casted, and that'll be a huge fucking deal because Bond is it's so sad, but not unlike many other franchises, unfortunately.
Yeah. Alex Belfour says, "The Mover, you will be moved. How is up to you." Yeah, it's like our genre of like mundane jobs that just become action movies. Do it. Deck says, "We have a cult comedy like that in France. La Tour de Montparnasse Infernal. 2 window cleaners who are really dumb who inadvertently save the day." All right, cool. JD Cyber, speaking of window washing, do you guys remember the G.I. Joe episode of The Viper? The old guy they thought was a big Cobra villain, but was actually just a window washer. I don't remember that one, actually. That sounds great. Dave Gannon. Oh, one of the bad guys is her brother. That's like the book for Die Hard, where his, spoiler, daughter turns out to be in on the heist. The book sucks, frankly. Yeah, I've heard the book's not great. It's called Nothing Lasts Forever. And originally, I think they had set up the movie. It was going to be a loose sequel to Commando, and it was going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger come back. So, in a crazy alternate universe, Die Hard is a sequel to Commando, and it's got John Matrix taking on terrorists in a skyscraper.
I remember a completely different history from that Netflix thing. I could have sworn it was... fuck, this is going to test my memory completely. In fact, you know what? Carry on, and then I'll go to Wikipedia.
There was another thing, because I think... I can't remember what the exact circumstances were, but there was some weird contractual loophole where they had to apparently give Frank Sinatra first right of refusal for the role of John McClane.
Right.
And Frank Sinatra was about 70 years old at that point. He's like, no, I'm not fucking interested in doing this nonsense.
Yeah, there was a book. I forget the name of it. It was adapted into a film. Frank Sinatra was the main star of.
Right,
well. Then Frank and others asked the guy who made the original book that the film got made from to make another book. He took fucking ages, but it was the Nothing Lasts Forever book. And that's why Frank Sinatra had first right of like refusal on the main character. And of course, I think they say in the thing they were fucking glad he refused because he was like 70 or whatever. Like it would have not worked at all.
How insane would it have been to make that movie with him if he'd just fully gone for it? And
He was just like, yeah, I can do this. Yes.
Yeah,
like,
you had like, but it was still John McTiernan directing it with the same kind of intensity and sensibilities. as
Yeah.
this movie. Jesus. What's this? Andrew Montpetit says they could call the universe with all the blue collar jobs: the beekeeper, the bricklayer, the accountant, and the window cleaner, the blue collar extended dimension, because it's going to push you towards sleep. I mean, yeah, sure, let's do it. Captain Fabulous, any chance of playing Indiana Jones in the Great Circle? Apparently, it's the truly great thing associated with Lucasfilm in the current year.
No,
I've
Truly
heard
great. No.
I've heard bad things about it, and it's put me off.
What are people smoking that game is great? It's like it's got accurate shit in it, you know, and it's got more respect for indie than Dial of Destiny. But we should have better standards than that, for fuck's sake. Like, it's not even in third person. So, you know, like Indiana Jones jumping around doing all kinds of adventurous shit, and you can't even.
Yeah, I hate fucking platformers that try to put you into like a first person perspective. It's like literally the most inefficient and difficult way of trying to do stuff like that.
It is a clunky, mechanically shallow mess, as far as I'm concerned. Easily breakable and just dissatisfying in many ways. I just wouldn't. I mean, as you know, I wouldn't. I know you love fucking Indiana Jones as much as I do, and I wouldn't recommend you play that. Don't waste your time. There's way better things. The fucking opening is just recreating Raiders, but you hold forward and like press A every once in a while.
Yeah, that's the tutorial level, isn't it?
Can we call that a tutorial? You don't even learn much of anything in terms of it's like, oh, press X to whip. It's like, yeah, I guess I got that. Thanks, good stuff. I was struck by just how uniquely cynical a lot of it is, and an Indiana Jones game should be fucking fun. It shouldn't be, look, you like this, don't you? It's like, yeah, not in this format.
Yeah. Fred Marino, have any of you read the Red Rising series? Fans would love a live action or anime version. Haven't read it myself, I'm afraid, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, if they're looking for it, hopefully they get something good. Chris says, question for everyone on the panel. Has anyone heard anything about why Rings of Power Season 3 hasn't been announced yet? I haven't heard anything.
No, nothing like definitive on why it hasn't, but obviously we can all speculate that it's because they're negotiating how long, how much budget, and what it's going to be in total, because Season 1 and 2 were a fucking disaster.
Yeah, I wonder if like maybe some of the actors are trying to get out of their contracts, so they don't want to come back. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if I was Morfydd Clark, I would get the fuck out of there.
For me, it's the simplest shit, man. It's like, you look at all the money they were given, and then you look at what they produced, and you look at the reaction to what they produced. And how can you have any other reaction than, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
This is Lord of the Rings, no? Isn't this supposed to be huge? Like, if you're like a completely distant executive who comes into work once per year, and you walk in and you're like, why these fuckers are ruining everything? Get someone else. And they're like, no.
Yeah, like because you're talking about throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars. You don't do that on a whim. And like, if it doesn't work out, there's got to be a post-mortem on it that's going to help you understand what went wrong. Surely there must be. They can't be that stupid. I mean, I say that like with some kind of hope. It would just be funny as fuck if they just came out and said, yeah, we're not doing Season 3. No one likes it. Let's just stop. It would probably save them a lot of money and do the world a favor, but I guess that's a pretty big admission of defeat. Monster Tamer says they should have just made a live-action Superman versus the Elite. It's Superman dealing with heroes who are being more violent than Superman approves of. I mean, sure. Yeah. The Prom Plan says, Merry Christmas. Has anyone seen Disney's Big City Greens Spacecation launched in June? The men save the day, the girl boss gets locked in a freezer for half the film, and the villain is a woman with a space-themed hotel. It's also made with love, and it's got heart. I have never even heard of this thing. What is that?
No, that's all news to me.
Big City Greens Spacecation. It must be some like really like almost obscure kids show or something. But yeah, because what you're describing there just seems like the antithesis of everything that Disney stands for these days. But yeah, man, like I don't know, sometimes things like that fly under the radar. But yeah, you also donated $100, so thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it, and have yourself a Merry Christmas. Ominous Flare. Live action Lilo and Stitch is coming up, and the like to dislike ratio is hilarious. It didn't even look that bad, but people are losing faith already. Who can blame them? I don't blame them. Jeremy Soden says, one might have thought that the mouse might have learned that current profits are a lagging indicator given what happened with Star Wars, but no. That's it. I mean, someone there must know what's... Yeah, someone in the company who's like responsible for adding up all the profit and losses must be like, hey, these things aren't making money anymore. What's wrong? Maybe we should do something about this. Chopsoki says, can we please get a Doc Savage movie? I don't know. Can we? Would we want one? Jonathan Lampkin says, what do you all think about the Monsterverse? Is that Godzilla versus Kong and all that sort of thing? Is that the Monsterverse? I think it is.
So that would be Kong Skull Island, Godzilla, Kong X Skull, Kong, big fight, Mecha Godzilla, like
Skull Kong versus the lizard guy.
Yeah, it's what can one say about it? It's do you remember Little Platoon like fucking roasted the shit on the newest one, and he pissed off like everybody in the comment section because they were like, hey, they're supposed to be goofy films, fuck you.
people are hyper invested in those movies. Like same thing happened to Movie Cynic. He got absolutely blasted for criticizing it. And it's Transformers, but with like giant monsters instead of giant robots.
The thing about it is, from their perspective, right? Because I'd read a couple of the forum posts about it. They sit there thinking, you know, people like Little Platoon are mistaken for believing that we should have everything be like -1. No, we should have -1, but we should also have some like more goofy and crazier stuff because it's fun to have different artistic interpretations. And the part they seem to never ever address from Little Platoon is yes, have your big, crazy, nonsense, goofy fun, and write it well. It's this crazy thing of bad, shitty movies can sneak into goofy movies. They're like, hey, look, we're just goofy. And it's like, no, you're shit. You're like really badly made. The people who wrote you thought you were good.
Yeah, it becomes just the convenient shield and a convenient excuse. Like, oh, well, the plot doesn't make sense. Well, it's not supposed to. It's a Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
You're
this
just
is an
supposed
Army
to
of
like have
Darkness,
fun.
where it's crafted for fucking hilarity. This isn't a parody movie or a satire or a really well-crafted comedy. It's like an earnest attempt at a drama with big silly monsters, and it's really just written like shit. Whenever they do like the, you know, power plant 723 is going to be exploding with this kind of fueling rods, we've got a bubble, like all this bullshit in those movies, I'm like, oh yes, this is the goofy part where we're all supposed to be laughing, where they just say a bunch of horrible exposition. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, what are you guys defending here? Why would we want this?
Yeah. Like I say, I don't know if it's just like Godzilla fans and it's like they'll just take anything that's got the Godzilla name on it, but it's like, yeah, -1 shows you what can be done. You can still have the spectacle and the destruction and stuff, but wrap it around a good story. It can be done. Why can't you just advocate for that?
When people appeal to -1, I think it's a mistake to assume they think copy its tone or copy like everything about it's like, no, just the writing quality, the care, please. Just whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. It's like Austin Powers, you know, like the writing in it is really fucking good. Hot Fuzz, the writing in it is really fucking good. I don't want like shittily written stuff just being lumped in with, oh, it's funny.
John Gates says the Cinderella one was actually pretty good though. Yeah, as far as I know, it was like the pre-woke era, so it was pretty much a faithful recreation of the original movie, done with done with a bit of finesse. So fine. It's like creatively, I'm still not a huge fan of it because it's like, well, you've already got the original animated movie. What's the point in just doing the same thing again in live action? But you know, okay, fine. At least you're paying respect to it. G-Man says, if Daisy Ridley's cleaner teaches us anything, it's that a female former soldier with preparation time, logistical support, and an arsenal at her disposal is on par with your average air-sick beat cop without shoes. Merry Christmas, everybody. This is the thing. I bet she never struggles like McLean did. She probably won't get hurt severely like he did, and she'll be fine throughout.
It might make for a decent video of just comparing how much they're gonna fuck up. For a lot of people.
Sure, I think so. Just if nothing else, it's a way of drawing more attention to how fucking awesome Die Hard is and how great a well-written movie it is. Just by saying this is what happens when you replicate all the elements of it, but just do it shit and miss the point of it. That'd be fine. Daniel Todd. The funny thing is, everyone that I know that's seen Homeward Bound with real animals loves the movie but hates the live-action Lion King because having real animals shows better emotions than CGI fake animals. Probably because they... I imagine with the stunt animals that you get in an old-fashioned movie like that, you have to keep it pretty simple, and you have to convey a lot through situational context rather than the animal just trying to make a facial expression. Whereas I imagine they take the lazy way with the Lion King movies and just try and have them act like humans, and it's never going to work. Servius says, as 2024 comes to an end, what movie most surprised you in a good way this year? Mine was Transformers 1. I was expecting a dumb kids film. And Mauler, why was it Freddy versus Jason?
So, I'm being as to Freddy versus Jason, why does it work as the kind of movie that it is, I guess?
Yeah, because I think he says lol, so I don't know if he's just being ironic. Maybe you thought it was shit, and
no, I kind of love it.
Okay.
The thing is, if you watch our take on it, we were kind of surprised by just how much writing quality there is in it. There's actually an effort to structure the whole thing, which you never would have expected. You'd think we're just going to smash them together and they'll fight. They'll be that. And they try to justify mechanically why Freddy and Jason are doing what they're doing and how they cross over. And, it honestly, as far as I'm aware, it's the most successful one out of all of them in both franchises as well.
Really?
Yeah, and I think people are like, why the fuck wasn't there a sequel? And they just I can't remember what I read. It's something like that they did it. It was done. The job was done, or something. And I've only say in future, if you ever have Terminator versus Predator or fucking whoever versus whoever, if only it could be as good as Freddy versus Jason in the goof factor, while also being kind of well written, because that was a fucking disaster of two franchises to try and clash in terms of mechanics. A dream demon versus an immortal zombie man.
Yeah, I remember watching it once back in the day and just thinking, yeah, that was goofy. That was goofy. That's the perfect word to describe it. It was just a comedy pair up, just let's smash them together and just see what happens. And as it turned out, it was just kind of disappointing. There was a lot of them just hacking away uselessly at each other because neither of them can really die in the normal way.
That is a problem I don't know how they can solve. The fact that both of them can't die. It's just well, what is the point of having them fight? I don't know, just try and make some funny set pieces, I guess.
Next one. Yeah, my one, in terms of surprising movies, it was probably Wicked, of all things. I went into that expecting it to just be garbage and something on par with the Marvels. It was fine. I just thought it was okay. I was quite entertained by it. Decent enough musical, I suppose. Not my kind of film at all normally, but I was all right with it. English Bachelor says Disney Plus is profitable. George gives you your book, and Star Wars is good. Wake up, Gary. Wake up, Gary. So yeah, things that are never going to happen, I suppose. David Gannon. I see Nelson Peltz, and my brain reads Nelson Muntz. Anyway, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas, folks, and to you, my friend, and to you. Morpheus, have you guys looked into the new GW and Amazon deal? That must be Games Workshop. Apparently, Amazon now has the full rights to anything in Games Workshop catalog and 40k in fantasy. Thoughts? Well, they're fucked then. Yeah, if Amazon are going to plunder it, God knows what they'll create. William Uzo says, is there a story behind the executive drinker title in Rogue Elements? Cheers. That's a good question, actually. So there's executive producer and then executive drinker, and I think it was basically like, you can only have so many executive producers on a movie. Like if you have about 20 of them, it doesn't work. It looks weird. And when we originally set up the Kickstarter, it was supposed to be capped at like 3, but the cap didn't apply or something, and so something like 12 or 13 people went for the top tier back-in, which was like $1,500 each. It was crazy. But they went in, and so I think we had to come up with a solution, because it's like we can't have that many executive producers on this one project. It just is it's impractical. And so I think executive drinker was the thing that we put in instead. And so that was our way of getting around it, I suppose. But yeah, it was our bad. We probably should have checked it more thoroughly to make sure that there was a cap on it. We did ask for it, but like I say, for some reason Kickstarter never applied it. Patriotic Cat says, crazy? I was crazy once. They put me in a rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. Nice. The Lion Man. Hey, Drinker, off topic, but could you do a video about the Amazing Spider-Man director's cut? Release the web cut. So, I mean, I could. I don't know too much about it. I would need to do a bit of research. I don't know if you know much about it, Mauler.
No, don't have much context on
that. Would it be a production hell type video? I'm assuming so, if we've never had it.
Don't know.
Jack Crispy says, have you seen The Raid and The Raid 2, directed by Gareth Evans, who also did Gangs of London? Has to be the greatest action movies of our generation. Yes, I've seen both of them. Saw them both at the cinema. And they're excellent. The fight scenes are just phenomenal. I don't know how you could top them, really. They go on forever. The stamina of the actors and the choreography, the work that they put in is incredible. And yeah, Mad Dog is my favorite character now. Marky Mark. Help, I'm the real Mauler. My account got hijacked by a hacker using AI to imitate my beautiful voice. If I don't get my account back, I want you to all know that I secretly love The Last Jedi.
Not
now I know
true.
it's fake.
I am not AI.
Oh my goodness. What are you saying, Drinker?
ELJ, bad.
Cannon Falderall, thanks for 124 years of inebriated podcast excellence. Cheers, Drinker, Mauler, and the rest of the bar. Happy Christmas, Boxing Day, and New Year. Merry Christmas to you, sir. What's the next one? Ayman says the best ad of the year goes to Jaguar. Yeah. How to destroy your brand. Dayman says, all hail our lords the panel. Battle of the Beans, Ned Stark versus Boromir. Open field battle. Only weapons are sword and shield. Top physical condition for both.
Oh, fuck. We need Gary. He'd probably actually be able to answer that, like, definitively.
I feel like Boromir is the stronger warrior.
Both of them in their prime. Ned is pretty fucking good. He's not the toppest of the top tier in Westeros. I think he ranks high, but he's not like S-class, you know? But Boromir is pretty high up, right? He's like one of the top tier.
I mean, yeah, so the thing about Boromir as well, he's directly descended from the men of Westeros. So he is like, they are kind of superhumans compared to like regular men. He's of the same lineage or the same sort of subspecies, I guess, as someone like Aragorn. So like they live longer, they're stronger, they're taller, they're more powerful, all of that. He's not on the same level as Aragorn quite, but he's close. He's like a mighty warrior of Gondor. And I think that probably gives him the edge over Ned Stark, who is ultimately just a regular human. Yeah, he's a great warrior and stuff in his own right, but he's not, I don't think, on the level of Boromir.
You said men of Westeros. I assume you mean men of something else, right?
Oh, yeah, Westerness. Sorry.
Yeah.
Misspoke. Apologies.
I saved you. The comments would have been like, wow.
I know. They're like, Drinker, getting all your lore mixed up and your franchises. Yeah, sorry, I get them mixed up. But yeah, so the island of Numenor that we laughingly see depicted in Rings of Power, that's the place where these guys originally came from, and the kind of species of man that lives there is like the ultimate version of humans. Like they are better in every way. and they move over to Middle Earth, especially after Numenor does an Atlantis and crashes into the ocean and gets destroyed. Eventually, they sort of interbreed with the humans that already live on Middle Earth, and their bloodlines kind of gradually fail, and they just become regular old humans like you get today. Anyway, that's the very long-winded explanation of saying that Boromir is probably a cut above like a regular human in terms of power and combat ability.
For lacking, Gary, but just to add slightly more on what you've said, because you basically covered it, is I've seen a post that says Boromir wins easily. Ned Stark's an able fighter, but he's never mentioned when characters are talking about the best or the strongest, which happens a lot in the books. Arguably, his greatest martial feat is taking on Arthur Dane, which, as we know, is like a complicated thing in terms of what actual skill level was proved with that fight, because no one knows exactly what happened, but that he would have died without Howland Reed. It's like the thing. Obviously, the show gives us an answer, but maybe they'll write something different in the books with total context. Anyway, on the other hand, Boromir is the blood of Numenor, and this makes him taller and stronger than most men, or most normal men, and he's renowned in Gondor as a great fighter. So, in the Mines of Moria, he says many orcs, as well as Aragorn does in the same fight. Well-known fighters like Legolas and Gimli only killed 1 or 2. That's interesting. Is that something that's specified in the books?
When they're fighting in Moria.
Because I was going to say, in the film, Legolas kills a shit ton in that sequence, doesn't he?
Yeah, so it's quite a brief fight, the way it's described. I think Legolas does pick off quite a few with his bow, like later when they're crossing the bridge. But yeah, I think it's Aragorn and Boromir who do the bulk of the fighting. Gimli, I think, is specifically only said to have killed 1. Like, he slices the legs right out from under an orc that leaps up onto Balin's tomb. And yeah, I think Legolas doesn't get too much of a mention. I'm kind of going off like my memory of the book, so it's slightly hazy. Yeah.
They mentioned when Aragorn found Boromir, it was said he was surrounded by 20 slain Uruk-hai, so...
It doesn't give I don't think it gives the specific number, but there's a lot because they pile when they put him in the boat to like give him a burial. They choose the best of the weapons from his fallen enemies to lay at his feet, and like that like fills the boat practically. So he kills a fuckload, and the only reason they bring him down, kind of like in the movie, is that he gets shot from a distance by arrows.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say it would be Boromir.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, he's a good fighter. Doc Hollywood says, just spreading a little Christmas cheer. As a backer of Rogue Elements and currently on Chapter 12 of Dark Harvest, my Christmas wish is for a full version of Rogue Elements one day. Thanks for all that you do, my friend. Thank you, man, and Merry Christmas to you, and thank you very much for backing Rogue Elements. I appreciate the support, and thank you for your super chat there. Sam Wallace. A Superman that gets flack for helping people actually looks different as Clark. Pa Kent is giving his heart issues vibe, and other heroes actually show up when stuff gets rough. Cautious optimism. All
right.
Chris Nicholson. Merry Christmas, drinker and crew. I hate to be a broken record, but I have to put in a plug for Avatar: The Last Airbender cartoon. Some of the best characterization ever. Impressive for a kid's show. I guarantee that you'll love it. What do you think, Muller?
I would be very curious to know if you get passionate enough to say you love it after seeing it. Because I don't think you will. I also don't think... I'd be curious to hear more takes on Atla from people who didn't watch it when they were young.
Right.
Because, it's... It was hyped to me as one of the greatest shows of all time, and I watched it, I was like, okay. Like, that's fine.
That's setting you up for a fail, really, when it's hyped up that much. Ominous Flare says a bit of left field for you maybe, but have you seen Secret Level, and what are your thoughts? So yeah, I've seen pretty much all of it apart from the Pac-Man episode, and I really like it. It's short enough you can blast through the whole thing in like an hour or so. It's fun. The stories are nice bit of variation in them, so I liked it. Yo Brinner's Balls says, drinker, any chance I could get Tatiana's number? I need a babysitter. Tatiana is for my use only, okay? No one else gets her. Leia says, cheers, gentlemen. Mauler, love your videos so much. You inspire me to be a better writer.
Appreciate it, man. Very thank you. Let me know.
Drinker, I saw you watched and enjoyed Attack on Titan and thought you might enjoy Vinland Saga. Yes, I think I had it recommended on the night, so thank you. But yeah, appreciate the donation and thank you very much. Have yourself a great old Christmas. True North says, isn't membership better? I can send you a super chat, but thought membership was better. I mean, I don't mind. Whatever's more convenient for people. Any way that you want to do it, whether you want to be a channel member or whether you want to just do a one-off super chat, either way is fine. If you're a member, then you get to do like the member-only live streams and stuff that we do occasionally, so you get a chance to hang out with me. But maybe that fills you with rage and revulsion, so don't let that sway you. Yeah, Ominous Flair says, Jack Black, I like to eat. Is that a crime? I mean, yeah, Jack does indeed have to eat.
It can be a crime when you eat too much.
Yeah. Feral Plumman says, I'd like to recommend The Man from Earth to everyone. It's an indie movie that has a very small cult following. I think it's on YouTube for free, and it's the proof that for a movie to be good, it doesn't need anything but good dialogue and a few dollars. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thanks for the recommendation. The Forced Meme. Greetings from an American who's currently in Dublin on a business trip. Love the Drinker and crew. Keep up the good work, and God bless. Thank you, sir. As C says, the first Guardians is Farscape. So the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, a lot of similarities there. I don't know if Gunn ever talked about that. Or...
I think Gary said he had at some point, but like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. There's some really strong Farscape DNA in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Sam Wallace, Dune Prophecy is a mixed bag, but like Andor and Penguin, it grew on me. Not woke at all. The slow stuff actually comes full circle. Some actors are meh, but The Wife in the Sixth Sense, Mark, and Vision Girl are excellent. All right, cool. Hobby Addict says, love you guys. Gary, I'll always dig when you use Eggman by the B-Boys in your vids. Also, Vulpec is one hell of a band. What do you guys think of Samurai Champloo Live action Netflix adaptation? So I have not seen the Samurai Champloo.
No, I got nothing.
I'm sorry. Kyle Clausen. The chat was under the assumption that Tatiana was a rhetorical device and lacked physical form. Tatiana comes in many forms, okay? It's not for you to decide. Wave Rider. Jesus, Drinker, I'm not even a Star Trek mega fan, but your review and Go Away Now had me tearing up. What a great send-off for such an iconic character. Much love and Merry Christmas all. Thank you. And yeah, man, that short film got to me. Don't know what to say. True North says, you are amazing. No, sir, you are amazing. Thank you. Johnny Abel, here we go. Mauler, slightly off topic, but when are you finishing TFA?
Who knows? All I can say is I'm working all the time.
Yeah. Jen Maisha. Call me cynical, Chris, but I prefer my heroes to be like Paul Atreides, Eren Yeager, and Gilgamesh. Warnings about why we need to rely on ourselves. I think either style can work. Either style can work just fine if it's well implemented. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with having a genuinely good, heroic hero who tries to do the best that they can. I'm okay with that. You know, it's all come down to the implementation. What's this? Lord of the Game. Cheers, gentlemen. Long-time watcher, first-time donator. The musical that I like the most is a Christmas movie called Albert Finney's Scrooge. It's a classic. Merry Christmas. You guys are great. Clearly the best. Christmas. The best Christmas musical is clearly The Muppets Christmas Carol, and I will accept no alternatives to that. Zinni says, since it's the end of the year, I've got to get this here. Transformers 1 is one of the best, most underrated movies of the year. I don't know why I can't bring myself to watch it. I just... I'm
waiting for Az's review, okay? Any second now, it's going to be here.
Yeah. Don Mack, the most Christmassy action movie ever is Die Hard 2, set in a crowded airport on Christmas Eve. What can be more Christmas than that? The first Die Hard is more Christmassy for me. OMG Puppies. Did you watch Lex, strange Canadian German sci-fi series? The second season was peak. Yes, I agree. I think that's when Mantrid starts to consume the entire universe with his drones. Yeah, Lex was fucking bonkers, but in all the right ways. Loved it. It was it was kind of like if Farscape had been made by like a retarded Down syndrome patient on an acid trip, then you would have got Lex.
Beautiful.
I Metal Monkey says Marley and Me is a man's film. Maybe I'm just not man enough to watch it, but I just cannot stand to see dogs die in movies. It's just it's not something I want to watch, I'm afraid. Kevin O'Neill says, I was counting on you to get me out of seeing Wicked. Now my fiance is all, the drinker said it's good, so let's go. Thanks for the honest review, bro. I'm sorry I got you into that, man, but maybe you'll enjoy it. Who knows? RPC says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Changer of Ways says, Star Wars is overstuffed with new characters. We're out into a living setting this time, not a slow rollout. True. Mark McClellan, worst of 2024, Rebel Moon Part 2. It's so funny how we've kind of forgotten about the Rebel Moon movies. They've just like vanished into obscurity.
My most favorite thing about who specifically has forgotten Rebel Moon and Rebel Moon 2 and Army of the Dead, right?
Yeah, Army of the Dead.
Jesus, that goes to prove my point already. But the funny thing about who's forgetting these films is Snyder fans.
Yeah.
None of them talk about those. That is 3 almost 100% creatively controlled films that he created, and none of them care.
I know. It's amazing that they can still cling to the myth that he's like this great misunderstood filmmaker who's just been stifled by studios. It's like, fuck off, let it go. The more creative control he has, in fact, the worse his movies are.
So rare directors get 3 fucking full chances with budgets like that to fail miserably.
Yosarian says, random fun fact. Did you know that a film exists which stars Arnold, Jackie Chan, and Charles Dance and is shockingly bad? Arnie plays a head guard in the Tower of London. Isn't that like Around the World in 80 Days or something?
That Charles Dance isn't in Around the World in 80 Days, but you're right, Arnie is.
Yeah. The one you're thinking of.
See if I can find it. Who's the third person?
Jackie Chan.
V2 Journey to China?
What? When the hell was that made?
What is this? Oh my god. What is this movie? Jason Fleming is in it as well. Rutger Hauer?
How does this exist?
What is this?
Did we all have collective amnesia about it?
It is a Russian-Chinese fantasy adventure film. What is going on? I need to see the trailer for this.
How has no one heard of this?
Maybe this is like it got Men in Black, like, zapped from our memory, because this feels like something we must have discussed at some point.
Because I know, like, sometimes actors will like go off and do like some random TV commercial in Japan that we never see, but they got paid like a shitload of money for doing it. Is it like that kind of scenario, but with a movie?
Is there a V1 Journey to China? Are they all in that?
After this, I'm going to have to go watch the trailer for this, man. I need to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And 007 Angelo, this is the last one, says, Best Lex was in Justice League Animated Series. Salute, gents. Salute to you too, sir. And that was the last one, Mauler. That was the final super chat of the night.
Well.
Thank you, everyone. You guys were super generous. We appreciate you guys helping to make Open Bar as enjoyable as it is. We appreciate you guys donating so generously and keeping it going. And thank you for that. And, this is us at the end of 2024. I feel like it's been a really good year for Open Bar. We've had a lot of fun with it. We've had some great guests on, and hopefully we've kept you guys entertained as well. And this being our last sign off of the year before we take a break for a week or so. I guess I just wanted to finish by saying thank you to all of you for making this what it is. Sorry, I don't have anything super rehearsed for this one, but I appreciate all of you guys.
We've reached the end of the year before. Thank you all for getting us here. You keep the lights on. We appreciate it, and hopefully you had some fun and are excited for the fun that's to come in the next year, of which there will be plenty.
we will make it fun for you, or we'll do our best
Yeah.
anyway. One way or another,
Thank you.
I can guarantee we can get drunk along the way. So
Thank goodness.
that is all we've got for this year. So go away now.
Bye.